So what really happens, on the books when a business partner decides to cash out? It's a huge moment that, let's be honest, almost every partnership is going to face at some point. And in this explainer, we're going to break down that whole accounting process, step by step. Okay, just picture this for a second. You've been grinding away building a business with your partners, and then one day, one of them decides to retire, or in a tougher scenario, passes away. Now, setting aside the personal side of things for a moment, a massive question mark just pops up. Financially, what in the world do we do now? Right, because this is so much more than just a farewell party and a handshake. When a partner leaves, it legally blows up the old partnership agreement. Poof, gone. The whole firm has to be what they call financially reconstituted, which basically means you're rebuilding the entire ownership structure from scratch.
Okay, so to make sense of all this, here's our game plan. We'll start with what happens right when a partner leaves. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of calculating their payout. After that, we'll talk about fairness, things like goodwill. Then we'll see what the firm looks like after they're gone. And finally, we'll cover how you actually pay them what they're owed.
All right, Section 1, the shake-up. The number one thing you have to get is that a partner leaving isn't just some small tweak. Nope. It legally dissolves the old partnership agreement. The partners who are left can't just keep going like nothing happened. They absolutely have to draw up a brand new deed with a whole new set of rules.
And that brings us to Section 2, which is really the heart of this whole thing, figuring out the final payout. This is the main event, right? The core job for the accountants is to land on that one precise number, the exact amount of money the firm owes the partner who's leaving, or if they've passed away, their legal heirs.
So how do you even begin to calculate that number? Well, you start by adding a bunch of things to their side of the ledger. First up is the balance in their capital account. That's their stake in the business, right? Then you add their piece of the firm's goodwill, their share of any saved-up profits, any money made from rechecking the value of assets, and of course, the profit they earned right up to the day they left.
But it's not all additions. It's a two-way street. We also have to subtract some things. So their share of any losses the firm has, that comes off the top. Same goes for any loss we find when revaluing assets. And of course, any cash they've already taken out of the business, what the accountants call drawings, that gets deducted too. It's all about getting to that one fair, accurate number.
Okay, this next part is absolutely crucial for making sure everything is fair. We're talking about goodwill and revaluation. See, you can't just use old, dusty numbers from the books to calculate a payout. That wouldn't be right. You have to figure out what the business is actually worth, right here, right now.
So let's talk about this idea of goodwill. It's a fascinating concept. You can't, hold it in your hand. It's the value of the company's reputation, the strength of its brand, that loyal customer base you've built. It's all the stuff that the departing partner worked so hard to create, and you better believe they're entitled to their slice of that value.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. It shows you exactly why we have to revalue assets. On the left, you have book value. That's just an old number, what you paid for something, minus a bit for wear and tear. But on the right, you've got market value. That's what that thing, maybe it's your office building, is really worth if you sold it today. The partner who's leaving deserves their share of that number, the real one, not some old figure from years ago.
Now here's a really cool little detail in accounting. Sometimes a firm will agree to pay a departing partner more than what the math says they're owed. Let's say the calculation comes out to $60,000, but they pay $75,000. That extra $15K isn't just a generous gift. It's actually accounted for as hidden goodwill. It's basically the firm saying your contribution was worth more than the numbers show. The payment itself is what reveals that hidden value. Pretty neat, right? All right, moving on to Section 4. So we figured out the payout, but what about the firm that's left behind? It's got a completely new shape now. Let's take a look at the aftermath and see how the remaining partners' slices of the tie get redrawn.
So how do they split up the share of the person who left? Well, it all comes down to something called the gaining ratio. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's just the formula that decides how the remaining partners will soak up the piece of the profit that's now up for grabs. The math is simple. You just take their new, bigger share and subtract their old share to see how much they gained.
Let's make this real with an example. So here's the old firm, right? You've got three partners. Asha's got 50%, Deep D has about a third, and Nisha has the rest. That's the setup before anyone leaves.
But now, Deep D retires, and boom, look what happens. Her share doesn't just vanish, it gets absorbed by Asha and Nisha. Suddenly, their slices of the pie are way bigger. Asha jumps from 50 to 75%, and Nisha goes from around 17 to 25%. And that wasn't random. It was that pre-agreed gaining ratio that dictated exactly how they'd split Deep D's share.
And that brings us to the last piece of the puzzle, Section 5, settling the final bill. We've done the math, we've redrawn the company structure, so now for the big question, how does the partner actually get their money?
Well, there are usually 4 main ways this goes down, and ideally it's all spelled out in your partnership agreement. Option 1, you pay it all at once, a single lump sum. Boom, done. Option 2, if the firm's a bit short on cash, the whole amount can be turned into a loan. The partner is now a lender to the firm. Option 3 is a mix of both, some cash up front, the rest is a loan, and finally, option 4, you just pay it out in installments over time.
But what happens if there's no agreement? What if nobody planned for this? Well, the law often has a default setting. In a place like India, for example, the Partnership Act kicks in and says the partner who left is entitled to 6% annual interest on whatever amount is still unpaid. It's a legal safety net, really, to make sure they get compensated if the payment is delayed.
And so all of this leaves us with one last really important question to think about. After seeing all these moving parts, the calculations, the revaluations, the different ways to get paid, is your partnership agreement actually ready for this? Because having all these rules spelled out ahead of time, that is, without a doubt, the best way to make sure that when someone leaves, it's a smooth and